Thank you.
Okay. All right. So this month we'll be doing all sorts of textiles. This is a very neglected topic, I feel. Hardly anyone focuses on illustrating textiles. And then when you have to show bits of that in other places, it's a big problem. So today we are going to take on one kind of a fabric. I'm going to show you how to illustrate it as a swatch and then show you its applications. And when we do the application, suddenly you'll realize that, oh yes, I have seen this over here, but I would never have thought to make it in this fashion. So I have shared a bunch of checkered prints with you. This is very common. This is this is one kind of weave which is seen across the world. Different cultures have used it. And we are also very familiar with this, right? From Madras checks to Scottish tartans and everything in between. And this is a very easy pattern to make. So I did not want to start the today's at least this month's class with something too complicated. And during the month, I want to show you not just different types of treatments or weaves or ways of in which textiles can be made and seen, but also how we see them in pictures and how we can translate these as elements in pictures. Like, for example, you have carpets. How would you show carpets? Or you have people wearing certain types of clothes. How would you show that? How would you show a garment in maybe a checkered pattern or a floral pattern? So that is what I would like to do. Now, in the same way, if there's something that you feel you've encountered and you've had a problem with, or you have a query about, feel free to bring that into class as well. I can always modify the class a little bit to accommodate a burning question about how to draw textiles. So let's share the pictures. I'm going to talk about those a little bit. So these are some of the prints we are going to try to make, starting with just a simple gingham fabric. Gingham, I don't even know how to pronounce it. But we see this everywhere. This is the technique of making this fabric is just using two colors of yarn, and they have a different. So the yarn is placed in such a manner that you have white yarn in one row, a mix of white and red in one, and then just these are crossed over. So where the white and red crosses over, in some places you get a concentrated color. We are going to create something similar using just our paints. Then if you add some more colors to it or change the pattern or the repetition of the bands, you get something like this. And if you break this down, just ignore the white lines for the moment. You can see that in painting this, we can make a yellow background and take an orange color and make these stripes, and then perhaps make a white stripes with maybe a pencil or a white colored pen. So it is fairly simple to make these, but I'm going to show you how to make these properly on as a swatch and then convert them into other objects. And I'm going to share those images later. So we'll start with something like this. I will have you make 4 squares or rectangles. I'll show you how to do that. You don't have to start anything, and we'll try to make all these 4 patterns. So as usual in every class, we will try to use just one sheet. With that in mind, I want you to make the swatches just about this big. Do not use a scale or any device to draw a straight line. Try to draw the straight line freehand. And if your straight line is a little wobbly also, it doesn't matter. Often fabric swatches are also wobbly. At every point, I want to try to show you how straight lines are very useful if this were an architecture class. Because it's an art class, we need more wobbly lines and we need your hand to be a little more steady. So we'll work on that by making freehand lines. So before you make the line, the best way to make the line is to imagine where your boxes are going to be first. So use your hands to figure out what you want to do where, and then start drawing a line. It's perfectly okay to hold your fingers in this manner and start drawing the line. When you draw a vertical line, hold your pencil horizontal. And when you're drawing a horizontal line, hold your pencil vertical. This gives you the most steady lines you can get. If you try to draw a line like this, your elbow gets in the way too much. So you often make these lines going sideways. Once you have made one square, balance this square out by drawing the next square immediately next to it, the same distance apart. A certain distance apart. And then the same distance apart horizontally, you can draw the next set of squares. So whenever you are making something like this, partitioning a page into sections, it's usually the space in between that makes the sections look good or bad or imbalanced. My lines are not really very straight. They are a little crooked, but this square, I have tried to maintain the corners of the big squares in such a manner that the negative space between the squares is very balanced. So it doesn't matter that the squares on top are slightly bigger than the squares at the bottom. This will still look like a nice page. Now we are going to divide these into certain sections. So, and all of this is going to be visually divided. So you can, assuming that this is going to be slightly rectangular, but it doesn't matter. Divide this visually into half. So draw a line outside the square at half point. And use your finger to figure out whether you are actually at half point. Like if I were to just mark with a pencil, I might make a mistake. But keeping a finger over here, I can at least decide whether it should go a little to the left, a little to the right. And I can make the line like this. You can also use your pencil to check if you've drawn the line straight and then keep a finger there. The reason I try to avoid making or using a scale for this is because I want you to be able to see certain things without the use of tools. You can see where your half line is or the half point of a line is with your eyes. We often don't trust our eyes. The more you do this, the more you will trust your eyes. Now we've divided this square into 4 parts. We divide this further into quarters the same way. So just draw a line. This is going to be our guideline for the pattern. And we start off with the simplest task of drawing vertical and horizontal lines with this color, which is scarlet. So I want to demonstrate one thing to you before you start. When making lines, there are 2 ways, at least 2 ways, in which you can hold your brush and paint a line. If you hold your brush along the line that you're drawing, you often can make very thin lines. But if you hold the brush perpendicular to the line you're making, you can make a line which has uniform thickness throughout by just maintaining a certain pressure on the brush. So I want to demonstrate this to you. Don't do this with me, just observe this. Yeah. So Arun, just look here for a moment. You can draw the rest later. So our brushes, all the round brushes will have a rounded edge like that around the, I suppose the edge, all of them. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so see this, there's they have a cut here. So we are just going to maintain contact of this cut with the paper so that we get one steady line. That's what I'm doing over here. I'm using a 6 number brush for this. Okay, and this is how I'm going. My brush is held perpendicular to the line I'm drawing. I place my brush down and I steadily just pull that line to the other side at the point where we have drawn that 1/4 line. Let me show this to you one more time. Load the brush with ample paint and keep the paint slightly thick. And just slowly drag the line across. If you maintain pressure, you will get the same thickness. Now, if your line does jump up and down like mine has, let it be. That is fine. This is a handmade illustration. So these things are bound to happen, but they will look charming. Now, those of you who are nervous about drawing lines, just check if you are holding your breath when you're drawing this line. That will make your line jump. Do it slowly, do it carefully. Hold your book with the other hand. And then it's a small line. It's just about 2 or 3 inches. You should be able to do this perfectly fine. And if you feel nervous, just actively exhale while you're making this line and you should be fine.
Does it have to be the same color or it can have a different?
For this one, we are keeping the same color.
Which color is this?
This is scarlet. So in your case, Arun, you can, since you're working with tube colors, just
I've got mauve and Prussian blue. I don't seem to have a scarlet in this box.
no, there will be. There will be some red. Do you have a crimson?
Yeah, I've got a crimson.
All right. So crimson is fine as well. There should be one more red. If not scarlet, maybe you'll have vermilion. Do you have vermilion?
Yeah, I've got.
Right. So then I'd prefer you use vermilion rather than crimson. Okay, so while Arun is making these lines for everyone else, we will make lines in between these lines now. Now this in itself can be a pattern. So when I want to make a pattern on something and I want to keep it simple enough, like maybe a ceramic bowl, when I'm making food illustration, I will often make just stripes and leave it. And that's good enough. Sometimes they are blue stripes or red stripes or blue and yellow or something like that, depending upon the kind of food I'm trying to illustrate. So there are different types of checks. I don't know if you are aware of this. I'll just share one graphic on the group right now and speak about it so that we can give Arun some time to finish the lines. I don't want to rush him.
The lines don't seem to have smooth edges.
That's okay. So it's possible that you need a little more water in the mixture. So what you should do is, when you've squirted that paint in your palette, take about the same amount of water as the volume of your paint, and then gently mix the two together and see if there's adequate flow in the paint. So if you have jagged edges, there's a chance that either the brush or the paint or both are very dry. And also keep a rag handy. So if at any point, if you feel you've got too much medium or too much water, then just do a quick dab so that the brush is not too loaded. Otherwise, you will reach the other extreme.
Already. What is the proportion of paint to the water?
You should have about 50-50 at least. So 50%. So 1 second, let me just help you with that. So let's say you take about half a centimeter blob of paint. That's probably the opening of the tube itself. You don't need more than that. And then if you just add the same amount of water, so say take 1 drop of water and start mixing it, you'll start seeing how liquid it's becoming.
Yeah.
Okay, and use the palette and brush generously. Make sure that the medium is ready, and then you can start painting with it. It'll take a little while, and if you want, Arun, maybe after class, I can help you a little more.
Yeah, yeah.
If by then, if you feel you still aren't sure.
No, my lines, horizontal lines, look a little ugly as they are smudged with rough edges. That's the point.
Can I have a look? Could you hold it up? Let me just see whether they are okay. Let me see what. So it is, I think, a consequence of.
I didn't put water. I used the paint. Now I'm using paint with water.
Yes, yes. Oh, so you hadn't used it with water before?
No.
All right. So now you will see a better line. Don't do anything to these. This is going to look even more textured. In fact, this is looking a little bit like a painting by Jasper Johns. I'm going to show you that painting. So you've got it already in the first shot. Okay. Right. So those of you who finished this, just check that your paint is dry, and we repeat the same process on the other side. This time, again, I like to start with the lines that I have made so that I don't make any mistake. And oh, oops, my line is very watery. In trying to show Arun how to mix paint, I've got a light color, but now I think this is going to look good too. It's a very watery paint, which I'm just going to wash across and create a dark and light line. I think it's looking good. And now I will divide the spaces wisely. So look at where you have to draw the next lines. You may often find this, that you have to modify a few things when things are not going. More often than not, things don't go to plan. So you have to be able to say, oh, this distance is a little too much, or this is too less. So I will adjust it so that I can create more and more evenness. And the more you do that, the more flexible you will be when it comes to different kinds of projects. So before we go any further, I would like to share some pictures of the application of this plaid pattern. And we can try making some of these. So now you recognize the pattern in this. This is the same pattern. We need to only draw this shape out and paint the pattern like it is continuing through different spaces. And even something like this. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do this. I would like you to observe this first, and then you can make it yourselves. All right. Now to draw this, if you don't mind, let me show this first. Don't draw it with me, draw it after me, because it is a quick job if I can show you, and then you can take your time in making the illustration. So while I'm drawing this, please also observe the table, because I am looking at the table and making this illustration, but I can't show you the two together. So I create a light oval shape about the height of and the width that I see. And then I will drop this line down, the skirt of the tablecloth. And then you will see that the bottom is not just a straight line. So wherever the bottom, wherever the frill, the fold comes outward, you will see that we have a C shape, a U shape, and then inverted U shape next to it. And then another U shape, but this time leaning a little towards the right, and then a line going up. And then an inverted shape that is slightly flattened, and another line going up. And all these lines are radiating outward. So the ones in the center will be straight, and the ones on the side will go a little to the side. And then this fellow will just come and hide here. Okay, this is the shape. So I'm going to show you again. Start off with the center. This is the fold which may or may not be seen. Then you draw an inverse to that curve, like on both sides. Then this side, you actually draw the U slightly sideways with a line going up. Then you have the inverse shape coming from a little higher and from behind. And then this goes up, and the last one may or may not come just from the side. Okay, do you want to try drawing this first? Yeah. Now remember, when you are drawing, hold the pencil far away and just make light lines like that. We are going to paint this, so even if you don't make an accurate first line, that's fine. If you hold your pencil over here and try to draw like this, it is going to make the line look rather ugly. So just make a gentle curve.
But we first draw the oval, right?
First draw the oval, then draw these lines from the side so you know where that curve is going to come. And of course, for those of you who are very new, you can also make the bottom of that skirt. So you have made the oval, you make the sides, and you can make a rounded shape as the bottom of the oval first. And in that, then you can start making one line down, one line up. It might be a little easier for you to do it this way. And then you can draw these lines on the side, always on the side of the downward curve. And you'll see the logic behind it. Now, when when I draw this, and I'll be speaking about this very frequently to you, it's not as if I am seeing things that are that, or I know things that about drawing this. I'm looking at the image and I'm drawing what I see. So in the process of these classes, I want to be able to show you, I guess, literally what to see in the reference images. Whether or not a line should come down or whether it should go up is all there in the reference image itself. So you can see that this line, objectively speaking, on the paper, is it lower or higher than this line? You just need to know a few things. How long is the line? What is the nature of the line? Is it straight or curved? At what angle it is? What placement it is? And what proportion it is in relation to the other lines. The moment you start asking these questions to every line that you have to draw, you start seeing it for what it is and are able to recreate it. Now in this, once you're done with the drawing, just let me know by giving a thumbs up so I know that you're done. Okay, Elaine, Janita, they're done. We'll wait for Vidya, Sonal, Neeta, and Arun.
Yes.
Done. You can just give me a thumbs up so I can proceed. Okay, Arun is done. Neeta is also done. Okay, Vidya is also done. Sonal, are you done? You're still taking time? Oops, okay. Are you erasing a lot?
Yes, we are. I am.
Yeah.
Okay, so don't erase so much because I suspect when you are erasing, the next line that you're drawing would be in the same place that you have erased the line.
Okay.
You keep doing that because your brain tells you this is what I'm seeing. You draw it, it doesn't look right, and then you erase it, and then the brain says no, but it has to still be there. So to avoid that, say if you draw an oval that looks like this and you're not happy with it, you can see a line that is a little off. Don't erase it because the next time again your brain will make you do the same thing. Adjust the line first.
Okay.
Based on where you think you are going awry, there you can make the new line. And then at some point after you're convinced that those lines are correct, then you should erase the line that you're unhappy with. Okay. All right. Now, in order to make the painting of the print of these checks on the tablecloth, we have to visualize a few things here. So the first thing is very simple. We are just going to draw about 3 or 4 lines. We're not going to make a very complicated pattern. We're drawing these parallel lines on the tablecloth. Keep them parallel to each other. And then you just drop them down along the fold. It's not going to look as busy as the tablecloth we are making, simply because I want to keep it a little simplified. Then you will make a line. Now this is a little tricky, so I would advise actually to use something like this to figure out how you should draw the line so that it looks like it is perpendicular. When our lines are drawn at an angle and we actually want to show that the lines are perpendicular, we might not know what angle they are until we draw the line. So here's another trick so that you don't land up erasing too much. Keep a small toothpick or a small skewer handy and see which angle makes it look like. If you draw a line along this side, will it look perpendicular, or should I tilt it so much or so much? Your eye will be able to tell you. But when you are not looking at it and you're trying to draw it, you can goof up. So I think something like this should work. So I'm going to draw a line coming like so. And then the same distance apart. And these lines also are going to come down. Okay, so now we've got the lines on the top coming down on the left and coming down on the right. But now just see that this fabric also falls down. So we have to make a line that follows this contour, which is this line, so that our line can continue. So you just have to follow this line to get the continuity of these lines. This line is here, this line is here. Wait a minute, wait a minute. Yeah, no, wait. I knew I would goof up. This is I'm making a circular pattern of a checkered design. Okay, I'm going to erase this part. Big goof up. So, wait, this is what I'll show you the goof up. Okay, we've got this line, we've got this line. And the next pattern should actually just be a line like this. This has to come down here. And then we have a line going this way only. Because these are checks. They won't come around. This will be a different pattern. Okay, so this line comes here. This line comes here. And then it's the fabric that falls to the side. Right? So look at the reference image. Sorry. And here again, we will have this coming at a line that's diagonal. And these lines, of course, you will follow the contour on the side. Can I show you on the reference image? Okay, see how the lines on top come and fall on the diagonal, where I have drawn them straight like this. And then imagine only the lines which are coming from the top right to the bottom left. Look at the next lines. As the fabric falls beyond the edge of the table, that's how our line, it just follows the folds and comes in. Okay. So before you guys do any painting, can I just quickly paint this and show you the effect? I'm using a thinner brush. It's a number 4 for this. All right, and I am looking at the reference image to give myself guidance. Starting from the center because that's the easiest one to make. And that will fall down, straight down. The next one will come to the side. And that will fall a little to the right. Oh, sorry, left. And here I'm going to add a wave because this wave becomes a little elongated here. This one will come a little to the left. And then I have this line, which if I draw straight, it'll be a disaster. So I have to draw it going in such a way that I translate this wave up here. So it goes inside, outside, inside, outside, and then out. So somewhere between these two lines so that I can maintain this illusion. Outside, and the fold comes all the way here. So outside again, and inside, outside, and inside. Still some goof up that's happened over here, but it'll work out fine. And then on the other side, I'll make it straight first. And follow the same principle where I'll have and then something like this over here. And what's missing is the ones on the top. Okay, and the same thing, I can busy it up by adding more checks on top. And so on. Do you want to try this? I won't make more lines first. First, just make this much, and then I will build that up and make it busier.
Okay, I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Yeah. So I just wanted to see how in the beginning, the whole pattern can look really bizarre. Like this looks like a big mistake. I want you to see this because when you make your prints and things start looking bizarre, just be patient and just use the same logic to complete the pattern and it should look fine. Arun, if you're working under a fan or something, your paint will keep drying. So
Oh,
every few, yeah, maybe after every 10-15 minutes, just add a little more water, just maybe, you know, a brush load of water, and reconstitute the paint one more time to keep
Yeah, yeah.
checking that you have the right consistency. Now, when you're painting these lines in different directions, feel free to move your book around. At least the ones where you don't have to make these serpentine lines. So we can still make those even lines with an even thickness throughout. So once you're done with the tablecloth, you can make the next checker print as well. I'm just going to add a few more checks here and here to fill it up a little. When you come towards the bottom, wait till everything dries up, and then taking a very thin brush like this. You can use a little thick red paint and just go around the bottom to reinforce that shape so it looks finished. Now we won't do shadows on this today.
Aditi, little slower, still
Yeah.
managing the crisscross lines.
No worries, no worries. I'll finish it and then I'll wait. So if you look at the picture, although our tablecloths are looking very warped. The design, mine is looking super warped. If you look at the photograph also, you'll notice that there too, all the shapes in the front are very warped. So they are pretty much in the same vein as the warpage that we have. Whoever has finished can choose any one of the other 3 prints. And if you want, you can start making those prints. Let me add this.
Paint seems to be smudging a bit.
Can I have a look?
No, please don't have.
Oh,
Most embarrassing.
no, it's not, don't worry. So are you saying it's smudging?
Yeah, smudging in quite, and some of the squares therefore are filled up.
All right. Okay. Never mind. So it is possible again, the paint, how liquid it is, the brush size you're using, so we'll just consider this as the testing that you need to do.
Yes.
So don't worry about it too much. Also, this is a little bit of this requires some fine work, so I'm not too worried. As long as the next checkers that you make, you have the right consistency of paint, and we will keep stopping at every point between layers so that you can make all the lines crisp. So with watercolor, there are a few things you need to keep in mind. I wouldn't want to scare you that watercolor is very difficult. It's not difficult at all. We just have to know how to work with it. So the 2 important techniques in watercolor are working with paint that is wet and paint that is a combination of wet on wet or wet on dry. So in some places we want the wet on wet because watercolor is perhaps the only medium in which that kind of fluid movement is even possible. In other colors, in order to get that fluid movement, you have to really jump through hoops. So we want to enjoy that flow. In the wet on dry, that allows you a lot of control and a lot of detail, for which you have to develop a certain amount of patience. So very often we either don't read the paint properly, so we start painting prematurely before the paint dries, and then we get a wet on wet where we wanted a sharp line, so our paint would flow. And in all probability, if your lines have smudged, there's a chance that either the brush didn't contact paper in such a way that it would not cause a bleed. Why am I talking so many negatives? That the brush contacted paper in such a way that there was some excess paint somewhere or a bubble of liquid somewhere, which the brush pulled into itself and created a different path, and therefore then just filled up what might have been an empty space. So these are all teething troubles, and this is all perfectly fine. Some places we want that to happen, and some places we want to avoid that. Now that you've known, now that you see that that is what's happening, all you need to keep in mind is how much paint had you applied? Was it less or was it more? As a beginner, you wouldn't even know whether it was less or whether it was more. So just keep in mind that I had applied so much paint. And the next time you do it, just try to dab the brush before you apply the paint. Apply it and then see if you can make that line completely. If you run out of paint, then you know that you dabbed a little more. Next time, dab a little less. So all these, I would say, in the first few classes you will go through, just observe it. This is what happens when I do this. This is what happens when I do that. And we should be fine. Okay, shall we try another print now? It's not even a print, it's a weave.
Aditi, can I show you my, okay, can you tell me where I need to
Yes.
improve this? Yeah,
Please.
just a second. Is it visible?
You might have to undo the blur.
Yeah. Okay. Just,
How do you do that? My kids have done it in my screen and I don't know how to remove the blur.
I think there is something that says, oh my God.
when you go to the video icon,
In
you have
video, choose virtual background or blur my background.
my background. So if I uncheck it,
Ah, yes.
Ah.
Nice. This is good. Good, good. Yeah, yeah.
there is no logic to how I have made the curves. Is that okay, or like no particular direction? I
Well,
just trying to follow yours.
yeah. Yes, I think so. Even following mine, I'll explain the logic over here. But you've done a fair job. This is quite nice. Good.
Yeah, thank you.
So the logic over here is that if I were to stretch this line out and straight, will this line come straight here? And will that line come straight? That is what the logic is. Because once I drop this, where does it fall? They both fall downwards. But I don't have to work this logic out. It's there in the reference image. Okay, so moving on to the next one, we will come up to another object which we will try to paint. This time it won't have too many folds, but it might have some 3D effects. Okay, Arun, I'm going to advise you, if making the objects or painting the objects seems complicated right now, then please feel free to make just the different prints. So like, for example, this pattern. Just turn it right side up, not at 45 degrees, because here we are trying to break the square into halves and quarters and eighths, and we might be able to do this better off. And ignore the white lines. I think all of us can make this quickly enough. So first we will make a yellow backdrop on the entire square. Let's all just make that. The yellow will be this gamboge. And in your case, Arun, you could use, I think you will have a chrome yellow.
Lemon, I've got a lemon yellow.
Lemon yellow is a little too bright and we use it mostly as a mixer. Do you have a chrome yellow or a gamboge?
Yeah, chrome yellow I've got.
So just chrome yellow is fine. Now, considering that we have a large area to fill, this is the loose proportion I use. I take a certain amount of paint in my palette and I add enough water to create the shade that I want. When you add too much, a lot of water, then the shade is lighter. When you add a little less water, the shade is darker and also the color can be denser. So I will just
You can answer.
my
Yeah.
paint in an area, in a certain area to see how wide I can make it and how much area with relation to the area I have to paint, how much area is my color covering in the palette. If it's a deep palette, even then you get an idea of how much should be enough. But if you don't, this will be an experiment. Now, I want you to just observe how to make this wash. Making washes is maybe 50% of watercolor painting. So for this wash, I'm loading the brush quite a bit. You know the brush is loaded if you can see a nice bulbous shape at the tip of the brush. Hold the book at an angle of maybe 30 degrees to 40 degrees. And then start applying paint like this, very lightly, with a medium to large brush. So when you apply paint like this, you will notice that the liquid paint starts coming towards the bottom of that line. And you then reload the brush before the liquid dries up completely and before your brush dries up completely. So you essentially are creating a path for the paint to travel down gently, and as the paint and the medium is traveling down, it is using the pigment or depositing the pigment on the paper, which the paper is absorbing. Holding the book at an angle will help spread the paint just by using gravity. If you try to do this keeping your book flat, then there are chances that this paint will run all over the place and you will end up getting a very, very patchy backdrop. As you come towards the bottom, gauge whether the amount of paint you have in the last line is enough and just gently spread it and finish it off. And if you've got a little blob of paint, you can leave it there, it doesn't matter, or wipe your brush on a rag and then just touch the tip of the brush to the extreme edge of that blob and pick up excess paint. So hold the book at an angle, make adequate paint in your palette so that you don't run out. Use a medium to a large size brush and make maybe 1 or 2 lines at a time. Keep loading the brush before it runs out of paint and you should be fine. Now here's how you can develop patience. We have to wait for this wash to dry. And I am a very impatient person myself. I would like to see the result of my painting as fast, as soon as possible. But just so that I don't trip myself up by painting this patch before it completely dries, I make 2 extra patches, which I will start painting so that I can keep switching from one to the other and keep myself occupied and not have to wait for literally paint to dry. So once you are done painting one square, try making the other 2 on your own. You can switch the colors this time. You can make whatever colors you want. And if you want, you can use this opportunity to try to match the colors to the colors in the reference images. Okay, I'm just gonna take 2 minutes. I have
Just
to.
see this. I've
Oh,
got a
okay. Yeah, okay, that looks nice.
I'm not showing you the other one.
All right, okay, not a problem. Okay, I'm
Can I
away.
take the other third also as a yellow? The second rather.
Sorry, which one?
No, below the yellow, can I do another yellow?
You may, of course, but you could also do the other prints. I mean, matching the colors, or in these 2, you can make whichever ones you want. You can try making another shade of color and make another wash.
I don't have a palette ready, so I'll use the yellow for the time being. I have to buy
Okay.
a palette.
Okay, okay, not a problem. So I'm making the deeper green shade, not shade, what is this called? Tartan pattern. This one. This needs a base color wash. So I am mixing I'm creating the first wash with a little bit of raw umber and a little bit of emerald green. And it's a very light shade, so it's barely visible. Emerald green is has a certain vibrancy to it. So I don't use it for botanicals, but that's a good color over here.
Kanti, can I follow you while we do this pattern? Or do you
Yeah,
want
yeah,
us to-
of course. Of course. So this is the shade, and I will make a swatch of it at the base so that I can write down what colors I mixed. I'm making the wash over here. Okay, it can be slightly bluer, so I can add a little bit of cerulean blue to this. Oh, this again. So this is raw umber. plus emerald plus cerulean. Okay, now back to the yellow. I think we can do this now. Same process. Mark half, half. This will go straight. I'm using the same process to make these lines, huh? We already have the references on the left. And we have two types of patches. We have one thick line, and then between the thick lines, we have thin lines. And the color is the same. So to the same gamboge or what's the color you've used? I'm trying to think. Chrome yellow. You can add a little bit of orange.
What color have you used in the bottom right hand?
Bottom right hand. This is raw umber, emerald green, and cerulean blue. Just a very little amount.
You have to mix them in your palette, is it?
Yes, so just take, here's how you do it. Take the three colors. If you have a plate or something, you can take the three colors in three separate spaces. And then keep taking a little bit from each of them.
Can
to
you
mix
repeat the
it up.
colors, please?
Yes, I will. So I'll just explain. So you mix a little bit away from the three blobs so that they can be used again and again. Otherwise, if you put all of them in one blob, you'll just make one wrong color and you'll have to keep correcting it. The three colors are raw umber. Do you have raw umber? It should be a slightly greenish brownish shade.
Burnt sienna, I've got.
No, keep all the browns away.
Burnt amber, I've got burnt amber, yeah.
No, raw umber, not burnt umber. If you don't have raw umber, I'll give you a substitution. Arun, do you have all the colors on the back of your kit? The names of all the colors? They should be there.
Called what? Burnt amber.
No. Names of all the colors should be in the back of the kit of your, maybe the box that the
No, it doesn't have it, no.
tube colors.
No,
Is there,
here's the back, it doesn't have it.
okay, is there a strip of paper that has come in which has the names of the colors?
No, sorry, no.
No? Okay, never mind. I'll just you've already sent me a picture, no? So I will just go and look at what shades they have. Okay, so this time round, I'm actively making a wide stripe with this. Now, resist the temptation of drawing pencil lines. You should be able to do this.
Aditi, what shade is this one? The one you're doing now?
This is orange mixed with the base color. So I have added orange to gamboge.
Okay, thank you.
Now again, we have to wait. Okay, so Arun, you don't have raw umber, right?
Yeah, I've got burnt umber only.
All right, never mind. So I'm going to tell you how to make this base color. You can mix together. Do you have sap green?
Deep green. I've got a deep green and I've got a. Yeah, sap green I've got.
All right. So you take a little bit of sap green and a little bit of yellow ochre. And to that, you can add just a little bit of sap green, yellow ochre, and maybe a little bit of cerulean blue. You should have a cerulean blue.
I've got Prussian blue and coral blue. They don't seem to be a.
Coral blue.
I've got a cobalt blue.
Cobalt blue.
Cobalt
Yeah.
blue and a Prussian blue.
All right. So let's use cobalt blue, very little bit. So first, add in a little bit of sap green.
Yeah.
Plus yellow ochre. I'm writing this down on the screen, so in case you want to just see it. Yellow ochre. These are your primary colors first for the mixture. And then to that, you can add a little bit of cobalt. Very little bit. So it should just
I've
slightly.
got, sorry, I've got chrome yellow and lemon yellow.
You will have yellow ochre as well.
No, it is lemon yellow and chrome yellow.
Okay. So, sap green, cobalt blue. You can add a little bit of chrome yellow. And then to that, you can add a little bit of burnt umber. So chrome yellow and burnt umber, I'm giving you to substitute yellow ochre. So it'll be more yellowish, not brownish. Okay. How's everyone else doing? Are you making your own prints? No? Okay.
Can I
So
mix up all of these?
like I said, don't mix them all together. Take a little bit from each of them and start mixing. So I'll tell you which color we are trying to make over here, so you know visually what shade to reach. So I'm making the lighter color here, this one. So it needs to be like a grayish, greenish, grayish, slightly bluish color. Oh, Vidya, sorry, I forgot. I didn't see your message over here. Yes, start on the other plats.
Yeah, I've got somewhat of a darker shade than what you have. And I'm painting the entire square with that. Am I right?
Yes. And this now, you can, if you add adequate water, then it will become just a lighter shade of whatever you have got.
Yes.
Great. Now the blue checks, that doesn't have a backdrop. So that is a mix of, again, cerulean blue and a little bit of yellow ochre. So Arun, right now, just do the one that you have.
Yes. I'm sorry if I'm slowing down the class.
Now, no, don't worry about that at all. It's your first day today. So the next one, I'm just going to show you, and Arun, you can watch this in the video also. So you can take your time. Don't pace yourself any more than you're comfortable with. Now, in this case, we have to see how the pattern has been made. There are big fat checks and then small spaces in between them. So we have to change our game a little bit. We can paint. Okay, always also test that your we've got enough on the right shape. So I'm going to paint just a little above that 1/4 line.
Mother लगाया ना.
Oh, sorry. And then the same distance away, I will paint between these lines. So I'm making fatter lines. And in this case, now you need to check that your negative spaces are balanced. All right. Now I can go back to block number 2. At every point, you just need to check that you're not placing your hand over wet paint. So this is a very nice exercise for what I call painting time pass, which is the activity that you do mostly like exercises, but in doing those activities, you are building some kind of strength. To be able to draw well, we have to develop a certain amount of strength in our hands and fingers, which I like to call the abs of the hands. So you have to be able to hold the pencil very lightly and control the line, for which your entire arm has to be comfortable, or you have to be able to predict where your line is going, for which you should have drawn enough lines. So these things are become easier and easier if you obviously do some kind of exercises. But doing just an exercise for the sake of exercise, however noble the intention might be, for me, I find it rather boring. I mean, I am like a very conscientious child. I have report cards that say that, but I still am impatient and I still would like to have my exercise given to me in a more entertaining manner. So I choose to exercise using something like this. I exercise my ability to match colors. I exercise my ability to draw lines without creating bumps. And at the end of it, I have a lovely page with different prints. You could also create a diary, maybe like an A6 diary, and within that, you can keep doing these kinds of time pass. And every time you do it, it's like money in the bank. Even the one line that you draw, that is one line more than you would have drawn before, and that is still closer to your art goal than you have been before. So think of it just like that. The number of lines that you make every day will make you better and better. What have I done? Okay, I think I have goofed up. Instead of drawing between the lines, I've drawn on the line, at least just the first one. But as long as I keep it consistent, I will still get the pattern. So this is also one thing that we do in art and often in design, that if you feel that you have goofed up consistently, goof up consistently. Because then it seems like that goof up is by design. And this is the process of even well-established artists. I'm taking a slightly deeper orange to this print. And here I'm going to draw a straight line. These lines can be somewhat scary to draw because they're fine and they have to be as straight as possible. So in this case now, hold the brush sideways if you want to, and then just trail it along the middle. Now there's a trick to getting it straight and parallel. And I don't know whether you should try this out. It sounds like it won't work, but it does work. Draw this line, but when you're looking peripherally at, let me restart. So I'm drawing the line with the brush, but my eye is on the edge of the line above it or the edge that I want it parallel to. So I place the brush over here and I keep looking at the line that I have to draw it parallel to. And peripherally, I'm looking at the line that I am making. And yet I will get it straight. I don't know how it works, but it definitely does work. And over time, you won't have to do that. You'll be able to look at your line and make it exactly how you want it.
What color are you using here?
This is a mix of orange and, in your case, chrome yellow. So I've added orange to the base color. The one extra thing you can do to make this print stand out, and if this is the only thing that you're doing, this is not part of a shirt or a tablecloth or something, you can make an additional square where these two colors meet and paint that bit. I'm not a big fan of this technique, but sometimes this does look very arresting. So carefully mark out the intersection. This is completely optional. You do not have to do it. So this was something that we used to do when I was studying fashion design 30 years ago. We would make swatches of fabrics. This was part of our course. We had to design different kinds of fabrics and prints and color combinations. So we had to make a swatch sample of that and send it off to the factory, where there would be a master who would match the threads and they would weave these on the loom. And they would make a sample and send it to us, and then we had to approve. Okay, so that can continue. For this one, oh, I think I left it too wet. This one, I'm making a blue-gray color for the blue one, using black and the same colors, these same shades I can use. So that's a little bit of cerulean blue and black. So I get a gray tone, but it's not a very dark gray tone. And here I have to make 2 lines. Now again, it's up to you. If you feel making 2 lines is too much, then you can change the design and make just 1 line in between. So we'll make it like this. Now, if I were to change this design and convert
Duck
this,
also was there.
change it when in the upright design, if I were to make 2 lines, then this becomes a plaid and it no longer remains a tartan. So there are tiny differences between fabrics and their names. And it all depends on what pattern is used to make them and what kind of repeat is made in the patterns. Now, just so you know, you can also do this with color pencil. So you can add another color using color pencils. Maybe I could add.
So what's the difference between a plaid? What makes a plaid and not a tartan?
A tartan has the same number of threads and in warp and weft.
Okay,
All these can qualify as tartan.
right.
This is a gingham because it has only 1 color, actually
One.
2 colors, white
Two.
and 1 color.
Yeah.
This can qualify as a tartan, but it has only 2 color threads. So it needs some more. This can qualify as a tartan because it's got 3 color and the print is the same throughout. So the white is also considered a color.
Right. So a tartan can have quite a few colors, right?
Yes.
Okay. And a plaid?
Plaid also can have, but the plaid does not, a plaid can have different colors in the warp and different colors in the weft. By not just different colors, a different sequence of colors. So if I were to make 3 stripes in the warp and 1 stripe in the weft, then
it would be a plaid.
Yeah.
Ah.
So let me just, as a last thing, let me share this. I found there's lots available on the net, obviously. So please do read up because it's fascinating to find out more and more about these fabrics. I didn't even know that there were so many. I knew about 3 or 4, and then it turns out that there are like 20 different types. So gingham is this, just 2 colors. Madras has lots of colors. Tartan, vertical, horizontal. Okay, so I've seen tartan even in Scotland, but Scotland has been credited with houndstooth. And even this Prince of Wales, which has, I think, very tiny.
Twill.
Yeah. So yeah, these are just cute little names of different fabrics here. This shepherd's is very cute, but it is the weave is slightly different. So you get to see like slanted lines in between the dark spots. And I love the graph. That's the simplest thing. You have a blue or a black color thread after every 10 threads or something, and it looks like graph paper. It's very cute. So all these are possible. If you do just a Pinterest search on checks, you will find hundreds of varieties. Oh, there's one more thing that I wanted to share with you. So this last bit, the last print, can be applied on an object like this. Let me share this with you. I absolutely love this. And you can use that print or any print that you want to make this chair. Oh. So this is like a very ambitious thing. I had really wanted to do this. I'm going to try and do this and make a video of it. If I do, then I can share it with you. It might just be like a time lapse, but at least it'll give you an idea of how it's done. I'm just going to observe it, just observe where the lines are and recreate this. So here the lines are rounded, here they are at an angle. Just do it this way. And I think if you attempt it, you should be able to do it too.
This is simpler than that tablecloth, which is a disaster. At least
I
this is
agree.
straightforward and pulled. I don't know how many lines I got in that, and they're going all over the place, and then I just colored it in stripes. And it was horrible. Horrible.
I think that even I was surprised at how complex
Oh,
that
yeah.
when it came down. That's something that even I wasn't expecting.
You know, you have to do precision each
Yeah.
line, and be very careful. If you do any garbar and the space between the two go finished, there, I mean, it was such a disaster that I just colored in every alternate thing. And so the hell with it. But
It'll
this
take a while.
blue is quite pretty. See,
Yes, it is
the
a
blue is nice. Yeah. This
So
was like, I cannot tell you how bad this was. I said I'll do it again underneath that.
It was a very complicated pattern. Even I didn't realize that it would be this complicated because it looks so simple. Because it's just two colors, just these lines, we're done with it. But no, it's not like that.
Yep. I'll do it again under that and follow each line, because there's no other way you can do it.
So there is one more picture of these Tartan ribbons. So in that print, those are also very pretty. I'm going to share that with you. And just look for different kinds of objects which have checkered patterns on them. You'll be very surprised. There are socks, neckties, dresses for women, of course. These plaid patterns are used by women in Jamaica. That's part of their national dress. So you get all of those. So lots of different things are possible. And try and see if you want to practice a few of these. At the very least, just make 4 or 5 more swatches and just try to make different colors, different types of patterns in that. So some fat lines, thin lines, different combinations, which you should choose. Okay? Okay, so I guess everyone can leave. I'm just going to sit for a minute with Arun to check if he has any questions. And next week, is there anything in particular you would like to do in the same vein with textiles? Think about it. Let me know in a couple of days. We can do things like embroideries or just stitching or something like that also. And embroidery. Okay, so we can do embroidery.
But simpler design, so we can
Very simple
follow.
design. Yes, I'm gonna do, if we do embroidery, I'll do something that I did with the kids class I did on Saturday. That's very simple.
Oh, that Zardozi way.
You're having an
cannot tell
Insta
you.
live today?
Yeah, are you?
Today, I've not planned anything actually. I might have. It all depends on the rest of my work. I might just quickly do one Insta live for 15-20 minutes maybe. Okay, cool. So I will see you next week, everyone, with
Thank you.
simple embroidery designs. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, the first class was a little difficult, I must admit.
I'm sorry.
Particularly, I find the brush not being even across the pattern, and the brush, the paint running or seeping.
Okay, let me give you a few tips on how you can work with the brushes. I'm going to show you my desk, and I'll just give me a second, please. Okay, I'm just going to give you a few tips on how you can begin. So let me get my tube colors out. Okay, so let me show you right from how you can plan your desk. We are working with these cakes. So if you can get these watercolor cakes, that'll be great. But I'll also show you how you can work with the tubes.
What are these cakes? What's the brand name?
It's the same Camlin 18. It's called C18.
But in cakes, not in tubes. Because I
No.
have got things like these.
Yes, yes. Never mind. I can show you with that also, but I had thought that they would have the same colors, the same shades. And for some reason they have different shades. Let me get my Camlin.
So you want camlin color in cakes, not in tubes.
Yes, yes. That's
Okay.
what everyone is using. Okay, so this is my watercolor kit.
Ah,
Is this the one you have? Something like this?
no, mine is this.
Okay. So the first thing I would advise you to do, see here I have the names of the colors in.
Yeah, that doesn't have it. So I'll get watercolor in cakes, not in tubes.
Yes. And look for the 18 color kit. They have a 24 color kit also. We don't need that.
Okay, 18 color kit, fine.
Okay. Now, since you have these, I'm going to ask you to make a color chart. So, from the back of the book that you're using, you can take a sheet of paper that is about this big so that you can keep it in your color kit always.
Yes.
At some point, you are going to use your tubes. So I want you to just be able to do this. So we are going to take a sheet of paper from the same book so that you know how the colors will look on this paper. You cut about this size and then in an order of the colors that you see. So all the yellows together, all the red and orange together, just arrange them in a particular order so that you can see the harmony in them.
Yes, can do. Okay.
And then take a little bit of each of those, just with the brush, you can just open it. Take a little bit from the top and make a swatch. So you'll make something that's about maybe this big. Let me show you on this part.
Or a small circle.
Yeah, just a small circle. Because we want to see how the concentrated color looks. So you don't really have to make a mix it in the palette or anything like that. Then on the tube itself, you will see that there is a number.
Yes.
And then there's the name. So below that, you can write the number 205 and Indian yellow. This way, you will make all the colors. That way, you get to know all the colors that you have in your kit. Then keep the colors separated. So all the browns together, brown and black together, red and yellow, red and orange together, yellows and browns together, blue and green together. So it just becomes easier for you to sort the colors out.
Yeah, there are numbers on these.
Yes. Okay. So once you do this exercise, you will become familiar with all the shades, just at least what names are there. Because in the beginning, you don't even know what you're looking at.
Fine,
And
but you need to I prefer to get the cakes with the names and put them on a circle on a one sheet of paper. You
No.
got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You got 24 here.
I have 24 and I'll show you for cakes, we do something different. Let me show you the cakes.
I've got 18.
Huh.
I've got 18 tubes.
Yeah.
You need to get the ones with the.
Right.
The
So-
one with the cakes has 24?
No. Yeah, so wait, there are cakes. There's a set which has 24 cakes also and 18 cakes also.
So I'll buy the one to 24 then, so we have a better.
No, don't. Just stick with 18 because
Okay.
we don't need too many colors.
Okay.
Everyone else in class is only these.
Okay,
So
18,
then at
fine.
least you know what I'm picking. It'll become a lot easier,
Agreed, yeah.
right? So now when you get the cakes, in that case, you will cut a sheet that's this big
Hmm,
so that you keep it over here.
yeah,
And here we already have a sequence. So here you will make 18 circles and you will make these dots in this sequence. So you will make yellow, lemon yellow here, gamboge here, orange here. So that the sequence on your color chart matches.
yes.
And also you will write the name on this color chart. So you will write Camel Artist Watercolors, 18 shades, C18, and what paper you've used, which will probably just be cartridge paper. So this is about how big your sheet will be.
I don't cut it out, I'll cut it out and paste it on the box.
Yeah, so I would recommend cutting it like this.
Yeah, got it.
And I have pictures of these, so I will share a picture. I can't find it right now, but I'll share a picture of this. So you'll have an extra flap left over. Keep that flap so it's easier to pick up
Yeah,
from here. And then once you've done this, you will write which color it is and which paper it is. And with each paper, you should ideally make this color chart so that you
each
know
paper
how.
means what? Just one paper I've got, no?
I know. So in the future, whenever you take a drawing book, if the paper changes,
Oh, okay.
do color chart. So the making of the color chart, you should do every time the paper changes.
Agreed, okay, fine.
So if you find that you're using the same book every time, you don't have to do this every time.
Hmm.
But this will give you a little bit of a head start next time. So at least you know what the names of the colors are.
Got it.
Now, this kit also comes with a sheet of paper and a card paper. So there's 2 sheets that come inside this kit. Keep those, don't dump them. Because on one is a butter paper, which has the names and numbers of all the cakes. And the other one is like a testing paper, which is also good to keep.
Got it, okay.
Okay, so that's it for homework. You can just do that.
Yeah,
Make
yeah.
the color chart. I will send you a picture later today. Before tonight, I will send you a picture. And then you will be able to see exactly what you should make.
Now, I'm just putting these together. You're saying put all the reds and the
Huh,
oranges together.
right.
Does this make sense? Eh?
Yes, exactly. That's a good harmony. Correct. Yeah.
Okay, fine.
You can shift the yellows to the orange side. Yellows, which are next to the blue and purple, you can shift them to the side of the oranges.
Now, what do I take out from there? I've got 3 now. I've got a chrome yellow,
Mm-hmm.
a yellow ochre, and a lemon yellow.
Yeah,
And next to that is the orange,
correct.
the vermilion, and the
Hmm,
crimson.
correct.
Then I've got the greens. And where does this fellow go? This is
Burnt sienna?
Burnt senna next to the blue.
No, no, it will go next to the reds. So you can put burnt sienna next to burnt umber or scarlet and crimson.
But then the yellow comes out, no?
The yellow should be on the side of orange.
Yeah, it's there, but there's one extra now. I've got an extra
No, you won't have an extra. There
burnt
would,
senna. I've got a burnt senna extra. Just see.
okay, could you move it a little to your left? See, where your right hand is, there is an extra space.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just move all the colors onto that side.
Sorry, move the.
Move the blues a little bit towards your right hand side. And then
Yes.
for the reds, you can put burnt sienna.
And I've also got a black and a white in the corner.
Yes. Black and white can stay in the corner. Any corner is fine because they are neutral colors, so it doesn't matter. And you can identify them quickly enough. With the other colors, because they are, yes. With the other colors, now it'll be easier for you to pick
Yeah,
them.
yeah, okay. But you said like to buy pods. What do you call them? Pods, not tubes.
Cakes.
Yeah, cakes. Cakes, okay, fine. Cakes.
Okay, now just a few other tips also. Your paint brushes, if you have a tall container, keep them upright in a container like that. Get at least a 12 set. No, so I have this very small thing which I use mostly for my calligraphy. But if you get a palette that is slightly bigger, that you can use for your tubes. But if you're getting the cakes, then you don't need to buy a palette.
Right now I'm using these, which are not very, just temporary, things like these.
Yeah, that's also fine. If you can use them, don't need to buy a palette. The palette just keeps everything separate, so that's good enough. But again, if you're getting the cakes, then you don't need to buy
Yeah,
it.
I'll buy the cake, they're much better.
Yeah. Then you have 2 water containers, right?
Yes.
Keep a rag handy always.
I've got one.
Yeah. So very often we, as beginners, we feel take color and paint. It's good to first, when you wash the brush, to first wipe it on the rag. Just take a little bit of water and paint separately before you're painting. So that just helps you monitor the amount of paint. So what was happening earlier now, when your lines were merging, that's possibly because there was probably too much paint after. So first you had very dry paint and then you had too much
I've
water.
got little liquid, yeah.
So obviously you didn't know which end you were supposed to do it. So that's why it happens. So keeping a rag handy helps, because sometimes if you touch brush to paper and you realize there's a big blob, you can quickly just dab the brush onto your rag and then just drag that
Smoothen it
blob
out,
off.
okay. How many brushes do you need to have for use at any one time? I've got 6 here.
I use about 2 or 3 brushes, depends on the applications. Like today.
I've got these 3 here.
Yes.
There, and I've got another 3 here.
Yes. So yeah, these are fine. We can just use these 3.
After every session, need to wash the brushes and dry them out.
Yes. So you don't really need to wash them. You just dunk them in water, but never keep the brush in water.
No, that I know. Yeah, fine.
Yeah. So then just wash them, and when you're wiping it on the rag, pull it backwards so that
Yes.
fibers are intact.
Yes. Fine. Pencils we don't need right now.
Pencils we need just to make basic drawings every time.
Okay, yeah.
Like we made the square and all.
When do we need these color pencil later?
We'll need them sometime during this session, but usually we pick and choose the mediums that we're going to use depending upon the project we have. Like today, we could have used pencils for the fine lines. So I just prefer that everyone has them around. So the pencils
It would have been much easier with the for this thing, no? With the
For the
pencils, with the, yeah, lines, yeah.
yeah, it is possible to use those also.
Fine, good, okay.
If you have any more questions, just freely put them
I
on
will
the
let you know, I will let you know. As of now,
Let
it
me
looks
know.
okay. So next Tuesday at 11, I'll
Yes.
dial in again.
Yes,
You will send a separate link or the same link?
it's always the same link, so you don't have to hunt
Okay.
for it. And it's also available on the group. So in case you don't find it or something, you can take it, copy paste it from the group description.
Okay, fine.
Okay,
Right. Thank you very much, Aditi. Thank you again.
thank you.
Please
And
send me your link about NEFT for the payment.
I'll send you that. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
again.
I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.